Good morning, everyone. I hope this video finds you in the best of health and spirits. This is a very interesting video because I'm trying to advocate the cause of science and advance the cause of science in India. And it is being read in the context of my efforts, indomitable efforts to try to resurrect or create a scientific tempo in India, or temperament in India. Okay, and this is something to do with two interesting publications from south of India, southern part of India, the Hindu newspaper and Frontline magazine. Both are sister magazines or twin magazines. Most people who are from the southern part of India, particularly Tamil Nadu state, have definitely heard about it. People from South India also would know about it. But people from West, North, and East, all of you may not be aware of it, particularly those of you who are not primarily following English news, English periodicals. Okay, the title of this video, therefore, is the Hindu newspaper, the Frontline magazine and history, an unforgivable affront on science. I'm trying to explain to you how these people are doing indamageable, in a great deal of damage to science. Okay, let me begin by introducing you to the Hindu newspaper and tracing down its history in brief. The Hindu, tracing out its history in brief, the Hindu is an Indian English language newspaper owned by the Hindu Group. This is based out of Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. It was founded as a weekly publication in the year 1878 by the Triplicane Six, becoming a daily in 1889. The Triplicane Six was a famous duo consisted of four law students and two teachers, that is T.T. Rangacharya, P.V. Rangacharya, D. Kesarao Pantulu is only Telugu person, not Tamil in the group, along with N. Subbarao Pantulu and G. Subramanya Iyer, a school teacher from Tanjavur district, and M. Veera Raghavacharya, a lecturer at Pachapas College. Okay, it is one of the most important and leading newspapers in India as of today. It is published in 21 locations across 11 states in India. Okay, it is very impressive. It has a very impressive track record. It has had some strong, achievements to its credit. However, everything is not hunky dory with it. The Hindu has been a family-oriented newspaper since 1905 when it was purchased by S. Kasturi Iyengar from the original founders. It is now originally jointly owned by the Iyengar's descendants who are referred to as the Kasturi family, who serve as the directors of the holding company. Excepting for a period of around 2 years when S. Varadarajan had the directorship of the newspaper, senior editorial positions of the paper have always been held by the members of the original Iyengar family or those appointed by them under their direction. It is very much a family oriented enterprise, just like we had Henry Ford trying to dominate and control everything in the automobile industry from 100 years ago. This is still a family oriented enterprise even to this day. As of 2010, there are 12 directors in the board of Kasturi Sons. Okay, let me also briefly review the Frontline magazine. Frontline is a fortnightly English magazine published by the Hindu group of publications headquartered in Chennai, India. It was originally launched in the year 1984. I was privileged to have read the first issue of the magazine way back in 1984 when I was still studying in class 10. Okay, it was originally intended to be a newspaper. That is how the editorial board wanted it, but eventually it changed its course, track, and direction and became a fortnightly instead. Okay. As of today, Vaishnav Roy is the editor of the magazine. It is a news and views magazine that seeks to provide an in-depth coverage on different topics such as politics, world affairs, culture, science, health, business personalities. It gives coverage to developmental issues from a left-leaning perspective and issues related to the working class, unorganized sectors, tribal regions, and other underserved regions in India. Okay, and one of the longest serving editors was R. Vijay Shankar, who retired in May 2022. The magazine's contributors, there have been many contributors to the magazine. They're all left-leaning intellectuals and thinkers like C.P. Chandrasekhar, Praful Bidwa, Jayanti Ghosh, Hasnain Riza, Asha Krishna Kumar, Praveen Swami, Bhaskar Ghosh, Aijaz Ahmad, etc. And they have contributed to the Marxist it's now magazine in a Marxist from a Marxist perspective. They have been contributing articles. Okay, all of them therefore are left-leaning intellectuals. And Vijay Prashad, the Marxist historian, used to be a regular columnist to send the letter from America plays piece for the magazine. He also reported on Western issues, particularly those relating to the USA. Okay, they have also received some awards. A correspondent by name Dion Bunsha received the Ramnath Goenka Prize in 2007 for outstanding reporting in the field of environment and books. Journalist P. Sainath, again, is very much left leaning, is a frequent contributor to uh, Frontline. He won the 2007 Raymond Magsaysay Awards. Okay, in the field of creative arts, journalism, and communication. Other journalists such as Asha Krishna Kumar and Praveen Swami have also been recipients of prestigious awards in journalism, such as the Lorenzo Natali Media Prize. Okay, there are a lot of criticisms of both Hindu and Frontline, particularly Frontline. It has a biased view of issues. It is highly left-leaning in orientation. It has been critical of the right. To the extent it needs to be critical of the right, it has to be critical of the right. There's no two ways about it. It's also old-fashioned. For example, it won't take advertisements from private companies. It doesn't report on IT, artificial intelligence, etc. It's very extremely old-fashioned, old-school intellectualism. It is also highly conservative in its views. They also are known infamously for sitting on the fence and reporting on during emergency, etc. was flawed. However, they did do some work on Bofors scandal and all that. They also have had a lot of trouble adjusting the liberalization, privatization, and globalization era. Okay. Before I continue this video, I would like to tell you that there are some good things that they may have done. Okay, over the years. For example, way back in 2000, I was in Bhutan as a project manager. I was designing a new software for Bhutan Telecom. Okay, so I was stationed in Bhutan for a period of 2 years. My son had just been born. And N. Jha from Bihar and N.S. Rajaram from Mysore, Karnataka, had wrote a paper called, book called the deciphered in the script, methodology, readings, interpretation, etc. They claim to have read it as Vedic Sanskrit. Some amount of fraud was also committed during this because they tried to enlarge or fake an image, morph an image to make it appear like a horse. And also they tried to read it as Sanskrit, which is unlikely given the fact that most of the signs are word signs. Okay. N.S. Rajaram, I have corresponded with him previously prior to his death. Was an Indian academic. He is not notable for propounding the indigenous Aryan hypothesis. Okay, and this is a pet Hindutva theory, which is absurd in my opinion because it's not just absurd; it has linguistic evidence. But even if there was a small element coming from outside, it hardly matters to anyone alive today. So there is no point in really breaking your head about whether Aryans came in from outside or not. But there is linguistic evidence, and you have horse domestication having begun in central India. Okay, so many the people thought N.S. Rajaram was uh, was indulging in his own inimitable style of polemicism. Okay, dishonest polemics in the service of a communal agenda. That is what you can say is trying to take a narrow sect of Hinduism, equating it with the whole of Hinduism, equating it to Hindutva, equating it to the whole of India. This kind of rabid Hindutva approach has luckily died down to a large extent because people have become more modulated and tempered. Michael Witzel and Steve Farmer, at the time, I did not know who they were. They published an article in Frontline magazine called Horseplay in Harappa. And they claim to have exposed this fraud, and they did a good job of it. At the time, I did not know who Michael Witzel and Steve Farmer were. But later, I came to know who they were, and I corresponded with both of them. I corresponded with Michael Witzel, Steve Farmer, and Richard Sprott also on numerous occasions later, but I don't get along with them because they're highly Eurocentric in their orientation. As I told you, I was working in Bhutan as a project manager, and I had taken a flight from Bhutan to Calcutta. From Calcutta, I could not get a connecting flight to Hyderabad, where my family was based. So I had come to Hyderabad by train via Vijayawada, and I had purchased this shirt, I think, at Calcutta station. Okay, so I was trying to read it at the time. I tended to sympathize with the far right because I was Hindu, culturally Hindu. Okay, and at the time I did not have that much of a scientific knowledge as I have today, because I was also disillusioned with the excesses of the far left. Okay, therefore bias and prejudices are not the way. Far left is also not the way. Trying to create another counter ideology to Hindutva is also not the way. As I have said repeatedly on innumerable occasions, one kind of bias legitimizes every other kind of bias. Should be the social crisis equivalent of physics law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Only objective scholarship will stand. Only objective scholarship is a long-term way for success. Okay, long-term recipe for success. Ideological interpretations of history can only prove to be transient and ephemeral. They can only serve the interests of a small vested group, and both Hindu and Frontline are highly biased. Okay, and I say this without any what do you say, without any, I mean, I say this very openly, blatantly, bluntly, and frankly, and without any reservation. Okay. In 2020, Frontline magazine published an interview with so-called R. Balakrishnan. He wrote a book called Journey of Civilization, Indus to Vaigai. This is again Dravidian nationalist. Sangam Bridge links Indus Valley and Vaigai cultures. This is also a form of dangerous parochialism like Hindutva. No other mainstream media will indulge in this. I'm sorry to say, only Hindu and Frontline will do it. Okay. Again, in 2024, there was an article published in the Hindu newspaper by T. Ramakrishnan, the centenary of the discovery of Indus Valley civilization and Dravidian links. This is highly misleading. Okay. Hindu has also published articles by Greg Jameson and others. They at least are bona fide researchers. Okay. Also, therefore, always be skeptical of authors who primarily target a proper audience instead of scholarly audience. Actually, there must be proper method and a procedure and process followed. First, you must publish your articles in a scholarly journal. Get consensus among journals. This can be done only if there is no ideology. This ideologically driven interpretations. Slowly, we must move towards more ideologically free science, robust intellectualism, and rock solid scholarship. Okay, and then you must communicate your ideas to the public. This does not usually happen. Of course, there are a lot of lapses. Okay, which are unfortunate and rather extremely unfortunate and not good for the interests of science at all, but we must gradually move towards this. And science again, targeting popular audience and bypassing scholarly audience. All ideologically drenched people do this. NS Ramacharan may have done this, but all Dravidian nationalists also do this. This itself should be categorized as a form of fallacy in science. I have written extensively about fallacies in science, different types of fallacies in science. I've categorized them. Again, you must have some kind of approach. Like for example, we are doing a textual reconstruction. We are trying to do a we're trying to read text, etc., and then based on the narrative analysis, we have to identify fallacies. This is what I had proposed in a recent paper. Also, read the bandwagon fallacy in science, because just because some people propose something, it is not. Everybody believes in something, it doesn't make it right. Again, you have concept of appeal to authority fallacy in science, and you have also the slippery slope fallacy in science. Please read all this. And Hindu and Frontline publish one-sided articles and biased articles. They have only one-sided approach to analysis and examination of evidence. This does not bode well or augur well for the future of science. Okay, just as Vedic Indus theory is not possible. Of course, Indus Valley civilization, unlike what Mitchell and other people say, contributed heavily to what is today known as Hinduism. This is a non-brainer because we have diachronic approaches to symbiotic approaches to social culture change. All cultures will take something from previous cultures unless it can be justified adequately. This is a natural process of evolution. Okay, Islam did not take anything from Hinduism because it was already a well-formed ideology at that time. Our Islam in the Middle East took from Christianity, small extent, and Judaism heavily, and from other native religions of Arabia. Okay, if you see the Dravidian Indus theory, it is not tenable because the terms Aryan and Dravidian are no longer interpreted as racial terms. Aryan is a cultural term in the Rig Veda. Dravidian is a geographical expression in Sanskrit. Items such as the IVC Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro do not resemble items from Dravidian culture at all. Harappan gods do not resemble Dravidian gods. No Dravidian place names in northwest of India. Skeletal biology. People of the region resemble people of northwest India anatomically. Refer to studies by Kenneth A. R. Kennedy and others. Migrations from Central Asia could only have been small. Therefore, a whole-scale replacement of native languages and peoples may not have taken place in the northwest of India. Baluchistan may not have been the originating point of Dravidian languages. These are widely spoken in India. Location mismatch between Dravidian cultures and the IVC. All substratum based approaches can be misleading. Okay, the Brahui evidence may be misleading. No north south migrations may ever have taken place. There were over migrations for Ganga Yamuna drought, probably in 1900 BC. Continuity between Harappan post culture and Harappan cultures of Pakistan has been observed in many parts of India. Why would they jump to Tamil Nadu without leaving a trail in between the other end of the subcontinent? Prakris may not be in the may not be derivatives of Sanskrit given the small quantum of migrations. Names of dasas are not Dravidian. Sanskrit and Prakrit words is profused with Sanskrit and Prakrit words, Tamil. And the script itself, Tamil Brahmi script is originated from North Indian Brahmi. Okay, script-based description decipherments may not be possible given the brevity of inscriptions. Most Indian signs may have been word signs. Okay. Similarly, this is not the only sin or cardinal error, cardinal sin they commit. They also try to glorify Aurangzeb. Okay. Again, try. What I would say is, if you want to fight Hindutva, just have the courage to call a spade a spade. He was a bigot nonetheless. There is no doubt about it. And he tried the Aurangzeb, who was a bigot, and he was anti-Hindu. who's placed on the same portal as Rajputs and other people. So this article was published by Syed Ali Nadeem Rezavi. Okay, Frontline also reviews the works of Audrey Truschke, the academic who has been writing on Sanskrit and Mughal court and apologetic for Aurangzeb. Here, her book Aurangzeb, The Man and the Myth, has been quoted by Frontline magazine several times. Audrey Truschke has been interviewed by Frontline magazines in both the years 2017 and 2021. Okay. In my assertion, if there's any publication that is so outdated and so biased in every conceivable way, it is the Hindu, along with its sister publication Frontline. This is clearly not the way. We need an integrated, centrist, and up-to-date approach. Okay. And one more issue that has surfaced recently is Tamil Nadu and the Iron Age. This is a highly controversial topic suffused with jingoism. Okay. The Frontline's headline screamed it and literally screamed it in 2025. It screamed Tamil Nadu's discoveries rewrite the Iron Age timeline in South Asia's past. Evidence indicates Iron Use began now as early as 3345 BC, suggesting people and technology moved between Tamil Nadu and Harappan sites. This is fallacious because Indus Valley civilization itself is not Iron Age site. It is pre-Iron Age. Okay, it is not associated with the use of iron. I'm talking about the industrial civilization. This is clearly Dravidian nationalism. This is clearly a Dravidian jingoism. This is clearly a desire to boost sectarian pride. On all these counts, the Hindu and Frontline magazine stand guilty. We need reliable carbon dating methods or other dating methods. Okay, we need reliable and non-partisan scholarship. This assertion was noted by other Indian and non-Indian magazines as well who have criticized the front line. If iron was used in Tamil Nadu, why not in Sri Lanka? Why not in Karnataka? Why not in Kerala? Why not in Andhra? Why not in Telangana regions? Why is Tamil Nadu so special? Something very, very, very fishy here. We do not need scholarship that misleads the public. We do not need scholarship that damages the cause of science. Scholars must dedicate themselves to the cause of science, society, and the education system. But when have Marxist historians spoken about all this? Agreed, Hindutva historian, but they are outside the realm of ambit and purview of the mainstream academic enterprise. When have Marxist historians spoken about science, objectivity, education system? Okay, the Hindutva and the Frontline magazine are absolutely the last holdouts of antiquated ideological scholarship. They seem to mirror the forever stuck in the 1970s comrade and drama, the most outdated they have ever come across. Clearly, we must expose them for what they are. Okay, they also keep on parroting other concepts such as the Dravidian school of development. What that means is just a repackaged version of earlier ideologies by Periyar, EVR, and others. I have written previously on how to uncover and expose ideologies. Please read that paper, and there must be rock solid ways to identify and uncover ideologies. The Hindu group is clearly ideologically driven. It will take us decades to undo the damage they caused to science. Okay, for example, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's 1 crore prize to industry researchers. This is, of course, highly biased. He wants it to be read as some form of Tamil or some Dravidian language. Okay, whoever wins the prize would have damaged science immeasurably. To put it one last time, a great day, disgrace indeed. Okay, this is to refer, echo and reverberate which sensitive farmers' words in a more sarcastic, sarcastic and sardonic kind of way. With this, I end my video. Thank you very much indeed.